Hello, everyone! Animals help us in our daily lives and in our work, but sometimes they also desperately need help. Today, we'll see how caring people selflessly save animals without expecting anything in return. Let's get it on. This orca looks big, but it's really just a baby stranded near the shore. A team of several dozen people had to water the animal for several hours before the tide finally came in and the poor animal was able to swim out to sea on its own, to its mother orca. When these people saw the trouble this goat was in, they were quite surprised, to put it mildly. But there was no time to find out how it happened, so the concerned bystanders got to work. Now the goat's alive and well, but we don't know what happened to the bike. Under the thick layer of bitumen, it's impossible to tell what kind of animal is before the rescuers. This is a little moose that wouldn't survive a few hours without help, but now it's definitely in good hands. They say that fishing nets have killed some 8 million turtles in the last 20 years. The only consolation is that some of these animals are still lucky enough to meet kind humans to help them. Cats have the incredible superpower to climb to the strangest places, and sometimes very high. This kitten was lucky. It was spotted in time, and the two resourceful guys came up with a way to save it. We bet the cat found a new home the same day. One day, this man was walking down the street and heard a dog barking from a pipe, but he could hardly imagine that he would have to perform a rescue operation. We can imagine how difficult it is to carry out such a mission without hurting the animal.
Buttercup, how's that? Come here, boy. Come get Teddy. Come on. How's that foot? Come on. Come on. Come on.
You don't see anything unusual? Look close by. That goose has a prosthetic foot. The story goes like this. Buttercup was born with a backwards foot. It had to be amputated and, because of that, the bird could not walk or swim properly. A new foot was 3D printed for Buttercup, and it is now indistinguishable from any other goose. It takes 5 grown men and a dog to pull a horse out of a hole.
Allez, on fait quoi là? On tire, on tire. C'est bien. Allez, voilà.
Ouais, génial.
Là, ma belle, là.
But sometimes 5 people are not enough.
Yalla, tenez. Yo, ça va? Yalla. Yatsa. Aïe là.
There are only about 5,000 Fjordland penguins like this little guy in the world, so the life of each one of them is precious. Australian zoo staff found this poor animal emaciated. Apparently, it had lost its way and swum 2,500 kilometers from the distant lands of New Zealand. The penguin was rescued, fed, treated, and released back into the wild, in the hope that this time it would find its way home. One day, a small bear cub approached the gold miners working on an Arctic island. It was clearly isolated from its family and relied on humans for everything. Although the workers were happy to have such a friend, this friendship could not last forever. So wildlife experts decided to send an expedition to collect the cub and bring it to Moscow so it could live comfortably in the zoo. Sometimes dolphins that have been washed ashore cannot be released back into the ocean immediately. First, specialists perform a thorough check of their vitals, administer the necessary treatment, and only then release them back into the ocean. That's exactly what happened with this fella. Apparently, this poor animal had been trying to free itself for so long that it was completely exhausted. If it had not been for the rescuers who arrived in time, it would probably have had no chance of survival. This guy's a genius. Of course, a box is the best bait for a cat. This is how a man decided to rescue a dog from the water. In this case, a box would not have helped. Few things are as touching as videos of firefighters saving cats that have inhaled too much smoke.
Are we gonna need another bottle?
Yeah, let's want some concentrated oxygen. Okay.
Yep. Should be good. Leo, you'll be okay.
Our favorite clip from today's selection is this video in which children happily say goodbye to an adorable seal after it was rescued by locals. Owls seem rather arrogant, but in this case, the bird had no choice but to accept the help. After all, you can't get out of this trap on your own.
That is a big bird right there.
That is a big bird. No, he's not eating.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You ready? There you go. That's what you wanted right there.
This goat was apparently walking around and suddenly fell. Thank goodness the cyclists who rescued it were more attentive.
把那两条腿先拽住。哎呦我操！好了，幸亏他妈碰到我们了，要不然就死你条了。再见。这辈子发现不了。玩去吧。
Not all passers-by would have noticed that this bird was alive, just very dehydrated. In that case, it doesn't take much to save the poor creature. Remember it in case it comes in handy in the future. A whole herd of cows stand by and watch their companion drown, but they can do nothing. Yes, nothing can be done without the help of an expert rescue team.
哎呀，眼泪都下来了。
要不起来，要不然不行。哎，起来，起来，起来，好。缓一会儿，缓一会儿。哎。
Probably the cutest thing you'll see today. A tiny squirrel fell out of a tree and the people who saved it decided to feed it as well.
我也感觉它吃饱了呀。别喂，别喂，吃饱了。
才只喂了3毫升，
吃多了
4毫升。
Sometimes all it takes is a little ingenuity to help an animal. This kitten seems to really want to help its brother, but unfortunately, it can't. Hopefully this man will be able to help the poor creature. It's not easy to get an animal out of such a narrow tube without hurting it while using tools. Luckily, the rescuer not only has a good heart, but also skilled hands, so the kitten didn't get hurt. One day, this guy went out for his usual morning jog along the coast and found a dolphin lying on the sand. Without thinking too much, he decided to help and did a great job. It seems that even birds have had to wear masks lately, but even though they are supposed to protect us, they can be very dangerous to animals. It seems that this poor animal had to spend a couple of days in a deep well before it was discovered. But as soon as locals noticed something suspicious, rescuers arrived on the scene and saved it in no time. This raccoon is being rescued from certain death, but it doesn't seem very willing to cooperate. But it's okay, rescuers have saved even more stubborn animals. Like this fellow, for example. It kept on fighting until the end. An unforeseen consequence of a hurricane. Due to the harsh conditions, some birds freeze to the icy shore. We would like to believe that in each of these cases there will be people nearby who are just as sympathetic as those in this video. Negligent owners had left their poor bulldog inside their car in the scorching Brazilian heat. Thank goodness someone noticed the poor animal and called the police. A net can be used not only for fishing, but also to do a good deed, like this one.
Looks tired, man. She's gonna drown. There we go. Tired, huh?
If the brave rescuer had not arrived in time, God knows what injuries the deer would have suffered, but luckily it only ended up a little spooked. A mountain goat in Alaska decided to take a walk on a frozen lake, and this is the result.
Back up, reverse. Easy. Slow.
Not locked down.
But all went well. The concerned locals pulled the animal out by the horns, warmed it up, examined it thoroughly, and returned it to the snowy forest.
All right.
When this penguin jumped out of the pool, the visitors of the park didn't know what to do. Except for this one person. This lion must have been looking for something to eat in the pit and ended up needing a rescue operation. It seems that squirrels really like to be together, because this situation is not at all uncommon for rescuers. Yes, sometimes these animals get tangled up with their tails and can't get out without help. Luckily, someone noticed it. However, it's hard not to notice this squirrel centipede. This kangaroo somehow fell into a canal and found itself trapped. A little longer and it would have suffered serious damage. Luckily, a rescue team from the local zoo quickly came to the rescue, and the kangaroo seemed to be waiting for them. The animal was carefully inspected and released into the wild. Hopefully, it'll stay away from urban areas from now on. Of course, bats are feared by many people, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be rescued, especially if you look at these animals up close, because they are pretty cute. They're also very friendly, says Jasmine, an Australian girl who has been rescuing these animals for years, and her videos show us a whole new side of these creatures. This polar bear got stuck on a rock and made the locals very nervous. To get it down from the rock, the rescuers first had to throw tranquilizer darts at it. They had to make sure it was asleep. Only after that did they lower it down with ropes. But at this stage, things didn't go according to plan. The animal remained unconscious hanging above the water for a while, but after some time the rope couldn't hold it anymore and the bear fell down. The situation seemed hopeless, but miraculously, the bear survived without a scratch. That's all for today, my friend. If the world around you seems kinder to you, leave a like and see you soon.